Hi, it's Anne here, and today's Get Ready With Me video is going to be featuring this guy, the Urban Decay, what was it called? Urban Spectrum palette. So this is a bit of a throwback. This is an older palette, but it's new to me. My friend gifted this to me. She had bought this. We bought this together a few years ago when we were going to Trinidad because she wanted to wear makeup that like matched her outfit. I think she used it like once with the color. I don't even know if she used the colors. I know she used these shades, like this one right here, and I think that's about it. She's like, I'm not using it. She's like, are you still doing your channel? Do you want this? And I was like, awesome, yes. At the time, I almost bought this palette at the same time, and then I decided I got a different palette around that time, so I didn't pick this one up. But yeah, we're just gonna play with this guy. It's gonna be a little old school, you know, Get Ready With Me, or older. I don't think I have anything new. One thing in this sort of stuff is new, like a new-ish product. Everything else is like things that have been out for a while. So yeah, I'm curious to know if anybody else has this palette. I never see anybody like feature this palette. Like when I see like palette declutters and stuff, I never see this palette anymore, like palette collections. I'm just curious to know who out there still has this palette. I mean, this looks like pristine. She like barely used it. So we're going to start with the eyes first. I did try out this palette. I did like a really simple beige kind of look. And I did notice there was fallout. So I was like, okay, we'll do eyes first because we'll probably have to tidy up some fallout. I'm just gonna prep my eyes with a bit of concealer. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Light Ivory. I'm not going to use eyeshadow primer today. I've been using an eyeshadow primer I got from, I guess it was Top Box or Luxe Box. It's the brand Mirabella. I keep saying Mirabelle in my head. I just watched Encanto a few weeks ago, and every time I pull out that eyeshadow primer, I hear the Abuelita, I can't say it right, like the Abuela, the grandmother, going, Mirabelle! So every time I use it, that's what I think. But I don't like the consistency of it. It's very like moussey, and I don't know if it's gotten old, because I got it, I want to say over a year ago now, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the consistency is not like what I remembered it to be, and I need to do a test to see if it's actually doing anything. Oh, I have not brought my brushes out. I gotta go get my brushes. Be right back. Just gonna set that with my face powder. This is my Sephora Mineral Foundation, or whatever it is, Mineral Compact Foundation. It's in my project pan. So how y'all doing? I'm okay. What do I talk about first? Let's talk about Harley first. So I don't know what order videos will go up, but there's a video that I've posted already recently, my weekend vlog video, and let me pick a color first before I keep talking. I want to go with like the purples. I'm going to start with this shade right in the middle called Flashback. So yeah, the video I posted recently, the weekend sort of vlog thing, Harley's in that quite a bit. That's our typical life. Like he is like my little world. I'm his world. It's just the two of us. So we spend a lot of time together, and we do a lot together, and he talks a lot. So I joke that he does, like, people are like, oh, he's so quiet, because he's super quiet because he doesn't bark, but he goes through phases where he talks like a lot, and he makes all his little funny noises, which sometimes is super annoying when I'm on like a work call. He's totally interrupted like really important phone calls at times. But for the most part, I think it's kind of hilarious because he just makes all these weird little noises, and he's trying to say something, but I have no idea. Like, he is definitely part husky. So anyway, after that vlog, so actually it would have been that weekend, he ate something off the sidewalk that he shouldn't have eaten, and it was super gross. And he's super easygoing, super chill, but he's very, he's somewhat food aggressive. So like if he bites something, like I learned this very quickly with him, first couple weeks I had him, he like found a piece of pizza on the sidewalk, and I went to grab it out of his mouth, and he almost took my hand off, and I was like, oh, okay. That's the only thing you're aggressive about. So when he does put something in his mouth, it's really hard to get it out, like food-wise. So anyway, I tried to get out as much as possible before he swallowed it. It was disgusting. He was okay for a few days. So like in that video, like he was totally fine. Like he was fine. I went to work, and when I came home, it was a disaster zone in my apartment. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but poor little fellow, he lost, things came out of every orifice. And he, again, I thought, okay, that's your lesson learned. That's whatever you ate, that's it coming out, and you're gonna be fine. And he wasn't too bad the next day. But then the day following that, he like went downhill really quickly. He was going to the bathroom, sometimes explosively, every few hours. It would vary. It would be like, you know, sometimes it would be like an hour. And then sometimes like 4 hours would go by. So it's been a long week. It's been really stressful. Like, I'm kind of laughing now because I'm like laughing because if I don't laugh, I will cry. I was crying a lot over this past week because, yeah, he went downhill pretty quickly. And again, it was up and down, and then eventually he didn't really want to eat much, so I was like trying to find stuff that he would eat. And again, normally he eats pretty much anything and everything. But his appetite was going. He's drinking lots of water, so that was really good. And like, again, his energy level was just sort of waning based on like he really wasn't eating, and he was like, you know what it's like if you have to go to the bathroom a whole lot. It takes the wind out of your sails. Like, it's definitely hard. Or like if you're vomiting. He wasn't vomiting. He only threw up the once. So that was kind of good in a sense, like in terms of symptoms. So again, I was able to get him to the vet this week. But yeah, it was a long week of, like, there was a few days there where it was like every few hours during the night I was getting up with him. And like when I would hear, and I wasn't sleeping because when I would hear him get up, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna go. And because like when he would go. Like, it was like, I gotta go now. Like there's no room for error here. So it was like I wasn't sleeping because I was listening for him getting up and like, what is he doing? Where's he going? What's happening? And I had to go back to my family home for a few days with him, which I kind of thought might be good for him too. So I was like, okay, well, we got to go home. When he's there, he's outside. He can go outside when he wants. Like, it's a lot easier to get him in and out compared to being here in the apartment. The fresh air. He definitely likes being there. So, I mean, I think it was helpful for him to be there. It was a little easier for him to adjust. But then, of course, my family's like, oh my God, what's wrong with your dog? What's going on? And the stressful part, or one of the things that I was getting super upset about, was super selfish reasons. Because I'm going away to Disney World. I'm going on vacation pretty soon. And I'm like, I can't leave him like this. Like, this can't last for too long. Like, he can't survive this either. Like, he's seen your dog. Like, he can't, there's only so much you can survive when your system's like exorcist, basically expelling anything and everything. It will, you know, again, he wasn't throwing up or anything. It was just diarrhea is what he had, like every few hours. But again, it would like space out, and we would get like 6 hours where he was fine. And then the concern that I was having was he was having accidents. He was, because again, it was like at times explosive, and it's like, I gotta go right now. So he was pretty rough there. And again, of course, I'm getting upset because I'm supposed to be leaving him, and I'm like, I can't leave him like this. And past history, I'm going to go in with this purple right here. I was away, I mean, this is a long time ago now. I did an exchange, and I was away, and my cat passed away. I had 2 cats. So Wolfie you would have seen. Again, he passed away a few years ago. But Clara, his sister, she was on and off sick her whole, like, almost the entire time I had her. And yeah, she passed away when I was away. And like, my family was looking after her, and I was like, I can't do this again. I can't do this to my family again. I can't do this again. Like, I was super upset. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can, like, you know, maybe I'll need to be hospitalized and I'll board him. Like, you know, you start like, I'll pay anything. I also have pet insurance. So, I mean, that's helpful because it will help cover costs. But anyway, so we were home for a few days. Side note, I was there because we were setting up internet. We have real internet at home now, which makes a huge difference for me for filming. I'm able to, I mean, I don't really film there, but I can actually upload videos there now. I wasn't able to upload videos there because it would take 8 hours to upload a video. Whereas I tested it the other day and it took a few minutes. So yeah, we finally have internet, like usable internet at home. This is such a pretty color. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see, like, can you see that? That's so pretty. That's so pretty. That's so fluffy. Anyway, so I was able to get him to the vet. Like, again, I ham and haw because the last time he had an episode of diarrhea. Not like this. It was just diarrhea, like kind of loose stool. But it lasted for like a week. And I kind of stressed about it. And I took him to the vet. And it was kind of like I jumped the gun. Tip, if you have a dog or a cat and they have like diarrhea issues, there's a product called Fortiflora. It's a miracle worker. It didn't quite work as well this time around. I think it helped a little bit, but the last time, as soon as he took that, it was like, oh, okay, it was just his gut bacteria was off, and the Fortiflora is like a probiotic for dogs. There's a version for cats too. Kind of like resets their stomach, like bacteria or whatever. And yeah, so he had an episode like this a little while ago, and it really kind of resolved on its own pretty quickly, especially once he took the Fortiflora. So I bought extra. I bought some to keep. So I was already using some of that. So I was like, again, I stress. This is the thing when you have a pet and they can't tell you. It's like, do I take him to the vet? Am I freaking out? Am I stressed out? Or is it going to pass? And again, like we're talking to my brother, and it's like, if you're having diarrhea, there's only so much you can like poop out at a certain point, you know. But again, like if it's, you know, if he has an infection, like it will keep happening. It won't stop. So yeah, like I didn't really know what to do. And like, again, the symptoms, I felt like his symptoms were really bad, like the first few days. Then they kind of kept getting better. And I was saying to myself, I'm like, oh, I think we've turned a corner. And then things would kind of not get better. And then they'd be better. I'm like, oh, we turned a corner. And then after a while, I was like, are we just turning in a circle? Are we turning a corner, or are we just turning in a circle? So eventually I did, like I called the vet and I was like, I told them everything. And they're like, okay, we can come see him. Like, they didn't sound like, oh my God, they didn't say like, get him to like emerge or anything. They're like, no, bring him in. So came back to the city, and of course though, come back to the city, and the day that I bring him back, he starts the explosiveness, like the urgencies was not happening anymore. Like it literally that day, he went and then he didn't go again. And I was like, oh, and then I stressed. I'm like, does he have a blockage? Like, are we like, and a blockage can be disastrous depending on if it's like a full blockage or not. I need to wipe some of this off. It's driving me crazy. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the darker purple. I don't know how dark it's gonna be compared to what I've got. So I might go in with this shade as well. Or maybe the blue. I'm not sure. We'll see. So anyway, got him to the vet. They did a bunch of tests. There was no blockage. They ended up giving him antibiotics and some pain medication. Again, they did blood work. Nothing major showed up in terms of like the diarrhea issue. So I think, again, like, I know it's what he ate, but he can't, like, his little body can't survive that kind of stuff. Like, he's old. Again, they did some tests. Some of his levels are not looking good, just in general, which I know, like, every time he goes, like, it's like, oh, this level has gotten worse. Like, his kidney values are not great. I know this. I know he's a senior dog. I know, like, his insides, when I adopted him, his insides were a hot, hot mess. They still are a hot mess because you can't, some of it's like, it's just not fixable, which is a shame. Kind of makes me mad that, you know, they never really they loved him, but they didn't understand, I don't think, what they were doing to him by feeding him human food. So anyway, all said and done, he's a lot better now. Again, I think he was getting better on his own prior to going to the vet, but I'm really glad they gave him like the antibiotics, because I think, you know, I think he did ingest something that was super dangerous. And I think it will help. And again, the pain medication is just kind of helping him mend. But yeah, like the explosive diarrhea situation, you know, that's all done. His appetite is starting to come back. So yeah, like he's gonna be okay. I think I'm at this point, I'm comfortable. Like I think he will be okay when I go away. But I mean, I acknowledge that, you know, his time is limited. He's living on borrowed time right now. The fact that he is still alive right now is kind of a miracle. I think I was just, extra upset knowing that I was going away. Like, I was like, I could deal with this if I knew it was just me dealing with it. But knowing that I was going away and that, you know, I was potentially, while I was looking at boarding, I was like, I'm not like letting my family have to deal with this. Like, that's not fair. And they can't, like, they work and stuff. Like, my brother can't be getting up every 2 hours. I mean, I work too, but you know, when it's your own pet, it's different. You do, like, you sacrifice, but you can't put that on somebody else. So yeah, it's been a really long week and a half-ish, 2 weeks. But it's definitely on the mend and getting better. But it was hard actually editing that video to see the difference between how like chatty and lively he was to like how sort of like he was not doing well when he was with me, like while editing that video. So that was really, really hard. It was hard to like edit that video and see the difference. But in a sad way, like this sounds really dumb. Maybe it doesn't sound dumb. Maybe it's a bit morbid. I'm glad that I have him on video to record these things. I don't really have very many videos. I'm just going to use my finger with that lighter purple. I want to see. Maybe we'll wet it. I think it actually is just even brighter. Like, look how cool that is. I don't know how well that's... I feel like it's not looking as cool on camera as it is in person. So yeah, I've had a rough week. He's had a rough week. I don't do well with little sleep. And I've had like no sleep. And yeah, actually last night was one of the like first nights that I slept through the night. Because I know he's okay now. Like he's not getting up during the night. But for everyone who's a parent out there, especially of a newborn, I feel ya. And it's funny because it made me think a lot about when Clara, so my cat that was really sick, when she was really, really sick, she had a tube in her neck because there's a whole story behind it. But anyway, she had a tube in her neck, and so I had to feed her every 4 hours through a tube. And so I'd get up in the middle of the night and I'm sitting there feeding a cat at like 4 in the morning, and I'm like, I know I don't have children, and I'm doing this. And it's like the things that you do for those that you love, right? And so, anyway, I'm just going to do this Porefessional. It didn't focus. There we go. Porefessional. I haven't used this in a while. I'm not sure if I've even used... Yeah, I have used this one. I might come back to the eyes and add... I kind of want to add some pink, but I don't know where to add the pink. Anyway. So, yeah, it's been a rough go. I think I was extra upset because of going on vacation. And again, selfishly. So I talked about this, like my Italy vacation never happened. We could never figure that out. And then I booked this like random last minute Disney trip. And of course it didn't work out. And I was selfishly super upset. I'm like, my vacation's being ruined. Like, am I not allowed to go? Is this like a sign that I'm not allowed to go, that this is a bad idea? And again, really upset thinking, you know, I don't want to leave him like this. And yeah, I was just really emotional. And of course, like I had a little bit of a breakdown at work, not at work, but you know, I was on a call with someone and they're like, how's it going? And like, at that point, like he had just had an episode. I hadn't slept all night. I was exhausted and I'm like, I'm not okay. I'm usually much more in control of that now. I mean, in the past, I was a very emotional person, but I feel like, you know, now I'm just using the Covergirl Trublend. What is this? Trublend Matte Made Foundation in M20. I think this is discontinued. So yeah, like that, especially when I'm tired. If I'm really tired, I'm definitely much more prone to being emotional or prone to being like very easily... Yeah, like I was just like, as soon as somebody talked to me, it's like, you know, the same thing happened when my grandmother passed away. I was in university and it was like the first week of school. I didn't really know anybody and I got a phone call. We knew she was sick. I got a phone call like, you know, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. And my mom was like, yeah, she's passed. We're going to come pick you up. So it was super early. So nobody was awake. So I was up and I went and had a shower and I got out of the shower and... my friend, well, she's my friend now, but at the time, like, we barely knew each other, and she's just like, my face must have showed it. She's like, are you okay? And like, I just, oh my God, passed away. And I was so upset. I mean, when she passed away, that was the first person close to me that had passed away, and it was pretty, yeah, that was hard. And she was like my granny, she was called Annie. My granny Annie, she was sort of like the matriarch of our family. Like she was the glue. She was the one that held us all together. And she was just a wonderful lady. She traveled, you know, it's funny because I'm doing this trip on my own. It makes me think about her. She traveled and did some vacation trips on her own. And I've always wanted to go to New Orleans because she went to New Orleans on her own. And I thought that'd be kind of a fun trip to do at some point. But anyway, I think my battery is going to die. So I'm going to do my eyebrows and change out my battery and we'll come back. Okay, I have some eyebrows on. I'm going to do some blush and bronzer. I'm just going to use the blush and bronzer from the Hourglass palette. So I'm going to go in with this blush and then the bronzer there. Okay, so kind of got like the super not great news out, but I mean, like I said, he's getting better. Harley is on the up and up, but I mean, just being realistic and transparent, like he's definitely like on the decline. It really is just kind of a matter of time. Like if he had another episode like what he just had, he wouldn't survive it. Like there's no way. His tiny little body. I mean, I joke that he has a stomach of steel because he kind of does. And he clearly has not learned his lesson because just this morning he tried to eat like, it looked like I think a hamburger or a hot dog on the sidewalk. I'm like, you freaking idiot. So yeah, upcoming Disney trip. So the positive stuff, upcoming Disney trip. So I guess maybe not positive. Not positive was it got canceled. So the last time I filmed a Get Ready With Me, I was all super pumped because I booked like a last minute trip to Disney World, which obviously I did not take because I was supposed to fly in like the Wednesday, the day that the hurricane came in. So, I mean, I kind of laugh about it now. I shouldn't laugh because like it's, you know, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I'm saying I shouldn't laugh because I mean, like Fort Myers and stuff, like it's interesting because Fort Myers is where we used to go all the time, like to the beach. My mom really liked the West Coast. The water was warmer, and Fort Myers is where we used to always go. So like I think where we used to go, like it's not there anymore. It's not the same anyway. So yeah, I was supposed to fly in on like the Wednesday, and I didn't cancel anything, so I waited till last minute. So like I didn't change anything until the airport closed. So because it was like, well, if it's gonna be a tropical storm, you know, it'll pass, and as long as it was safe to fly, like I was telling myself things like I hiked a mountain in like basically a sleet storm. I mean, because it's like snowy, sleety at the top of a mountain in Peru, and in Scotland we would have picnics in the rain, and I used to dance out in competitions in like freezing cold rain. So like the rain wasn't an issue for me. The bad weather, like poor weather, wasn't an issue, but when it was like so dangerous or like could be so dangerous that they closed the airport, I was like, okay, I hear you and I will cancel. I ended up like canceling everything, but then after I did that, like several hours later, I got a message from the airline saying, oh, well, your flight has been moved. And I was like, well, that would have, like, I could have moved the flight, but I couldn't really move anything else. So it wasn't really helpful. It would have like shortened my trip by like my super short trip already by a few days. So I was like, well, it was a good thing that I just like canceled everything. And some of the things were fine and some things weren't. So like I ended up having to cancel the whole package. So I bought like a ticket and room package through Disney, and I had to cancel the whole thing because it was sort of like a, you know, this is the September package. Like the prices were cheaper. I was able to, so what I ended up doing was I moved my flights first. And that was fairly easy. The flight there was no problem. I was able to switch to a flight, like the exact same flight number, same flight time, in November. So that worked. The flight home, I couldn't get the same flight home. So I had to pay a little bit extra because that flight also wasn't covered 100% by like the hurricane because it was like later. Again, there was no issue with the first flight because it was covered. Even though I did buy cancellation insurance, it only covers so much, and I decided to pay like the difference or something. Like I had to pay like $100 or $150, I think, for the flight. So that sucked because it was like a super cheap flight to start with. It was like a $300 flight there and back. So yeah, like my flight's more expensive, and then because I'm going at a different time, Disney has different pricing for different times, and so the price is more expensive. I'm just going to add a bit of this Kevyn highlighter. This is the Candlelight. They call this the Celestial Powder in Candlelight. So yeah, so I ended up, I rebooked the flight, and then when I tried to like move the package, that's when I found out I couldn't move the package. So she had to cancel everything, and I was able to rebook. So I rebooked tickets first, which were more expensive. So I had a park hopper ticket the first time around. This time I didn't do park hopper because I was like, I'm not even sure I'm gonna have enough energy to park hop, because I'm doing like 4 parks in 4 days, which is a crazy thing to do. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just using my Cleo liner. And so I just bought regular tickets this time. The good news, or the thing that worked out better for me, is there's no Halloween party. So there wasn't like, with the Halloween party, Magic Kingdom closes early on certain days. So there was only certain days that made sense for me to go to Magic Kingdom. So that kind of messed up my schedule, or the days that I wanted to go to certain parks, or how I wanted to arrange things. And you couldn't buy, like, there was no tickets for that Halloween party. So I couldn't just buy a ticket for the Halloween party. So yeah, that, like, some things kind of worked out better and some things didn't. And then again, I tried to rebook the room. Obviously there was nothing at Pop Century that was available. So what I ended up doing was I booked something through Expedia for Disney Springs. Again, I picked one of the resorts that has like they're like a partner resort. So it has like the early park entry, because that was kind of important to me to do early park entry. But I was pretty bummed because part of this whole like exciting adventure of this last minute trip was I was staying on Disney property, which I've never done before. It's something like my parents would have never paid for something like that. And so I was pretty excited about that. And to have that part canceled just kind of put a big damper. I was kind of really bummed about that. So I stalked the Disney website, and I eventually did. So it took a few tries. So like I was able to book 2 nights at Art of Animation. So I was like, okay, I'll take the 2 nights and then 3 nights at Disney Springs. And then again, I kept kind of looking and, playing with the dates, and eventually I was able to get 4 nights at Art of Animation. So Art of Animation, though, is more expensive than Pop Century, which kind of sucks. It's not a whole lot more expensive. I think Pop Century was like $210 a night. This is like $250 a night, or $256, something like that. So it's not like drastically expensive. It was still reasonable. I mean, I was considering even opening up. I was looking at like Caribbean Resort, and I forget the other one. They're in like the 300s a night, which is still expensive. But I was like, I want to go. I want to do this, and that's what I'm going to pay, that's what I'm going to pay. And I really wanted to stay on a resort that was connected to the Skyliner. I like the idea of the Skyliner. I think it's super handy to have that. So there were certain resorts that did come up, but I was like, oh, I don't really want to stay there because it's kind of far. They didn't have like the Skyliner, so I was kind of picky. But yeah, eventually I got 4 nights at Art of Animation. So I'm only going to be there for 5 nights. So I got 4 nights at Art of Animation, and then I have 1 night at the original resort, the Disney Springs resort that I had booked, like I scheduled. The advantage of going through Expedia was I was able to cancel with no penalty, no punitive damages. So that's why I kind of like booked the Disney Springs right away, and then kept looking for something else. And I don't mind that my last night is at Disney Springs. It'd be really nice to have just stayed in the same room and not move around. But my last night, like that day, I'm not going to a park. It's the same thing though, because I would have early park entry, but I'm already using the 4 days, the first 4 days. So my last day is just sort of like a lazy day. I was going to go to Disney Springs, although I had friends that were just there, and apparently Disney Springs is a madhouse. So I'm not sure. I might just have like a day where I like ride the monorail maybe to some resorts, or like, I don't know. I guess I'm going to see if I can maybe do like a late checkout, take my time. Going home, my flight's a lot later, which is kind of nice because I'm not rushed on my last day. But the downside is, so I'm going to be playing a game of chicken with the Up Express. So the Up Express is basically our like train between Pearson Airport and downtown Toronto. And the last train runs at like 1 a.m., I think. And my flight comes in like just after 12. So I probably won't make it. There's also a bus. I've taken it before. There's a bus that takes you to the line 2 of the subway, and then I would have to take line 2 to line 1. Like, it's a lot longer. So I don't know. I'm gonna try and make it to the Up Express. I'm hoping now that like the airport, they've gotten rid of the arrive can stuff, and I think some of the stuff at the airport's a little easier. I'm also like, I'm just taking carry-on, so I should be able to get out faster. It just depends on where I get out, like how fast I get through customs and where that exit is compared to the like how far. I don't really know. I'm gonna try and make it. If not, I'm not gonna stress about it. I might just take a cab back, which will be kind of pricey, but at that time of night, because the next day I then have to go and drive and pick up Harley. So that like, and I'm back to work the next day, which I think might be a bad idea. But there's only so much time I could take off work. And again, so yeah, so things kind of have all worked out. And like certain things might be a little bit better. Like I think the weather is going to be a little bit better. It's not going to be as hot. We are still within hurricane season though. So I'm like, please, just, I just want to go. I just want to go. And like, I kind of said to, I forget who I was telling this, but I'm like, if this doesn't work, I'm literally just going to buy a ticket to like, I don't know, Jamaica or something. Like I'm just going to go somewhere because I need a break. I need a break from, I don't need a break from Harley, my little boy, but I need a break from life. I don't know how other people are feeling, but I'm just feeling really exhausted. I'm just using this Ilia. I just opened this. This is the Ilia Fullest Volumizing Mascara. It's just a sample size. I was using another sample, like a small one from Milk Makeup, the Kush one, but it's done. So I opened this guy, and I don't mind it. I haven't used it enough. I think once it dries out a little bit more, I might really like this. I did not like the other Ilia one. I didn't care for it. It's not, I didn't dislike it, I just didn't care for it. So yeah, like I think some things have worked out. Like I said, I had better times, or I was able to pick, you know, whatever day I wanted for the Magic Kingdom, because there's no other party. I'm hoping it's still quiet-ish, although I've heard that the crowds are still like super, super crazy there. I'm just gonna put a bit of powder all over my face. Even like quiet times are no longer quiet, because I'm kind of hitting it between the Halloween and the Christmas season, so I'm hoping it's an awkward time that a lot of people don't go. But I think there's just like, there's no quiet time anymore when it comes to Disney, I don't think. I'm just gonna put some concealer on. Again, what I was using earlier. And I think I might add some pink to the eyes. I'm gonna add maybe some pink to the crease, we'll see. It could be a disaster and I could totally wreck what I've done. But we'll give it a go. So yeah, I'm hoping between being seasons, although it's going to be interesting. And that's another thing I'm a bit sad about. Like I was looking forward to like the Halloween decorations. I really like Halloween. Like Halloween's probably my favorite thing. What do you call it? Holiday. But Christmas is a close second. So, I mean, at least I should be there when some Christmas decorations are up. At least I'm getting started with some of it. So, I mean, it could be interesting because there could be both. I could have a combination because I think some of the stuff they don't take down right away. But it'll be interesting to see what decorations will be up, because I have no idea what to expect. Because again, like a lot of the planning stuff that I was looking at were all like Halloween planning stuff, so like even the Halloween food and stuff, like none of that's going to be there. So I'm like, well, I guess I will find out when I get there what's there in terms of like seasonal things. The food and wine, so another good thing is the food and wine will still be going on, so I'm excited about that I'll still be able to get to the food and wine at Epcot. Because I was looking forward to that. And yeah. So yeah, the Disney trip. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was I talked about in my last Get Ready With Me a little photo of me. Like I talked about, so I was so excited when I saw Disney. It was funny, my dad, he brought it up the other day when we were talking about Disney. He's like, I'll never forget when we got off the little trolley and then you saw Mickey and just lost your mind and took off and ran to see him. I'm just going in with, I want to try this backlash, the bright pink color. He's like, you took off, and just like gave him a big bear hug. And I was like, well, I found that picture. I couldn't find it at first. I was a little freaked out, and then I remembered I actually have the picture. So we have like all of our family photos, obviously family photos, but I have a few pictures I actually had it in, so I had a little scrapbook from high school. and there was a page, I think it's called, the page was titled Happiest Day of My Life, and that's the picture that I picked. So 16-year-old me, 17-year-old me picked that picture. I commented that I wasn't really sure I've ever had the happiest day of my life, but that was one of them. I also laughed because I wrote probably the happiest day of my life would be my wedding day. I'm not married. I'm 42 and I'm not married. And I don't plan on getting married. And it's just so funny how at that time it was like, yeah, that was just a thing. Like, you just assume, I guess I'm going to get married. I don't know. But yeah, I picked that picture as the happiest, day of my life. And I was like, that's so cute. But yeah, that picture, I just love that picture. Because I can remember, it's hazy, but I remember that. Like, I remember that feeling. I remember that feeling of running up. I think this was a good idea. The pink worked. The pink worked, my friends. Let's maybe add a bit to the lower lash line, just to zhuzh that up a bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I am a little stressed. Like I said, the crowds kind of stress me out. So I'm kind of an introvert. So like the fact that I've even booked this whole trip, and I'm still kind of worried about the COVID stuff. I was able to get the bivalent booster, so I have 4 shots. I have the extra booster. I think I'm kind of done for now. I think I'm good. I don't think I need any other boosters at the moment. Yeah, I don't want to get sick while I'm away, but at the same time, my desire to go is overriding that. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm nervous about the crowds, and the one thing I gotta kind of have to mentally tell myself is to not get too anxious with the crowds, and not like, if something's super busy, if I see a lot of people, I end up just avoiding. Like, I'll just like, I'm not gonna go over there. And I'm like, I need to like not do that. If there's something I really want to go or do, I'm gonna do it even if there's a crowd. Like, I kind of have to just like fight that feeling of avoiding people because I won't be able to avoid anybody at Disney World. Okay, lips. I'm gonna throw on the lip liner, the Grunge lip liner, just a little bit of it. And then I'm going to throw on Velvet Teddy from MAC. I just like putting the Grunge lip liner with this because it sort of like shifts it to a bit more of a cool tone. Something on the side of my lip there. How long is that in there? Okay, let me just fix my bangs so you don't have to look at the 10 head anymore, and we'll wrap up this video. Alright, so there is the final look. I'm really enjoying this eyeshadow palette. I really like this shade over here is really, really pretty. I did use this shade as a liner. I'd like to maybe try that like on my lid to see what it looks like, because I feel like that one could be really cool. But yeah, I like how this turned out. It's fun, it's wearable, but colorful. Looking forward to playing with this some more. And yeah, thanks to my friend for letting me have this and play with it. I will definitely get some good use out of it. The only colors I can see myself not really using is this one, this green. But even like these greens, like I'm good with teal greens, but green greens, not really my jam. I just feel like with my coloring, it doesn't look like the way I want it to look. And I like greens on other people more than on myself. I was thinking about doing false lashes, but I'm too lazy to do that right now. So yeah, there's the eye look. I think it's really fun and pretty. So yeah, I guess in summary, Harley is on the up and up. We've turned a corner in the right direction. We are currently not in a circle. We've turned the corner in the right direction. And yeah, Disney trip is coming up, and I'm super, super, super excited. I'm nervous and excited for it. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm expecting things to go wrong because that's just life, but I'm hoping for the most part it goes well. I can relax a little bit. I can have fun a little bbit. I can just enjoy being away and doing something a little different because I haven't gone anywhere in over 2 years. Like most people. I mean, it's not odd, but like most people, I mean, I feel really lucky that I have the privilege to do this trip. And yeah, anyway, if you like this video, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.